Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
It's time for Congress to finally abort funding for Planned Parenthood. I'm Matt Barber, Vice President of Liberty Counsel Action and Associate Dean with Liberty University School of Law, in for Matt Staver today. And joining me in studio is Sean Akers, Dean of Liberty's Helms School of Government and Vice President of Middle Eastern Affairs with Liberty Counsel. Sean, our friends over at Americans United for Life have put together a comprehensive report detailing much of the criminal activity, or what appears to be criminal activity, over the years by Planned Parenthood. They have called for an investigation in Congress into many of the activities of Planned Parenthood, and Americans United for Life is also calling for Congress to defund Planned Parenthood. A number of states across the country are preemptively defunding Planned Parenthood at the state level, but it's time for the federal government to get out of the business of taxpayer-funded abortion. That's what happens with about $363 million of our taxpayer dollars a year. They go to fund this abortion Goliath that is plagued with scandal.
You know, Matt, the Planned Parenthood organization has gone to great lengths to rebrand itself recently, using some fairly creative mathematical tricks to describe the types of procedures that they provide and that kind of thing. When somebody like the Americans United for Life comes along, a reputable group that does this level of research, it makes it very difficult for the public and for Congress to ignore the issue. My hat's off to them. I mean, they've done an excellent job and produced a first-class piece of research here that is going to push the issue. You and I both know, because we've followed it a little more closely than the average bear, that Planned Parenthood's a pretty slick operator. I mean, they put on a nice face, but the fact is they are about the business of using taxpayer dollars and a shell game to cause those taxpayer dollars to go into producing abortions. And those of us that pay taxes and consider those little unborn lives to be babies don't want our money used that way. So this is a wonderful time for the Americans United for Life to really hit one out of the park. Like I said, my hat's off to them.
Well, and you're right. Congress, now that the information has been consolidated and laid out in such a concise and irrefutable manner, Congress really has no excuse. They can no longer rationalize. Those on the left, they will die on this hill. There are liberals in Congress, and Harry Reid and others have said absolutely, a Planned Parenthood could do anything, and they will never, ever defund Planned Parenthood. But it's hard to continue standing your ground and continue, to die on that hill with the information that the Americans United for Life has put forward here. For example, they have detailed misuse of federal health care and family planning funds. State audit reports and admissions by former employees detail a pattern of misuse by some Planned Parenthood affiliates. They've detailed a failure to report criminal child sexual abuse, and this is systematic within the Planned Parenthood organization. Substantial and still developing evidence indicates that many Planned Parenthood clinics fail to report all instances of suspected abuse and instead advise minors and their abusers on how to circumvent the mandatory reporting laws. That's criminal, Sean. There's no other word for it. We saw our friend Lila Rose over at Live Action in an undercover sting at least 7 Planned Parenthoods around the country. A group went in posing as a prostitute and a pimp and said that they had sex trafficked children, teenagers, and that they wanted to get them STD testing, treatment, and abortions. And a number of these Planned Parenthood facilities coached them on how to do that, coached them on how to violate the law, thereby violating the law themselves.
You know, the Planned Parenthood really is a devil's handmaiden here. It's amazing the things that they get away with, and they're unabashed about it. Now, here's the thing, though, Matt. We're at a time in the U.S. economy when we're scrutinizing every dollar. The dollar's not doing very well. We're in a place of either having to go into inflationary inflationary printing of money or borrowing money that we don't have. Most everything that we're spending right now, we're putting on a Chinese credit card.
Yeah,
and the American
exactly
people are beginning to understand it and feel the pinch. Unemployment's up, the dollar's down. And when that happens, and you've got a report like this that says, okay, by the way, how much money did you say spent? 300 and what? What was the number?
$363 million last
year. Of our tax money at a time when we're having a little trouble as the United States making ends meet. It's going to stick out like a sore thumb. And those congressmen and senators, left, right, Republican, Democrat, that are soft on this issue, you know, I really would not want to be them when they wake up to the polls in an American public that is very upset that you spent their money this way.
That's right. It's time to weed the garden. We are in this fiscal disaster right now that has been perpetuated and exacerbated by this Obama administration. That's a topic for another day. But it's time to cut spending. It has to happen. It's unsustainable. This is the low-hanging fruit. I mean, it's a no-brainer. You get rid of federal funding for Planned Parenthood. In light of this report and continued information all over the country that continues to come to light about Planned Parenthood's misdeeds, there is just no excuse for any congressman, any elected official, Democrat, Republican, or independent. There's no excuse for them to continue defending federal taxpayer dollars going to this, in my opinion, criminal enterprise.
No, Matt, there's some things that you shouldn't have to argue over. You know, we may argue over whether you want to build a new road or whether it's good to have a particular kind of law or not, but can't we all get together on the fact that we don't want our tax dollars spent on what the Americans United for Life says was a failure to report criminal sexual abuse, or assisting those engaged in prostitution or sex trafficking, or dangerous misuse of the abortion drug RU486, or misinformation about so-called emergency contraceptives, including Ella? Do we really have to argue about our tax dollars being used in this way? I mean, this is one of the most divisive issues facing the American electorate right now, and we've got congressmen and women that are standing up saying there's no budging on this. I may budge on anything else, but on this is sacrosanct.
The left is in the tank for the multi-billion-dollar abortion industry, and they're not willing to yet see the writing on the wall here. Abortion is not long for this world. It will eventually become illegal in the United States of America. I think they see that happening. They see that they're losing battle after battle at the state level. They see that the tide of public opinion has shifted completely. The younger generation, the millennials, Generation Yers, and so forth, are overwhelmingly pro-life. Overwhelmingly. It's not even close anymore.
It's just a matter of time, Matt.
Yeah.
The United States is going to look back at the travesty of abortion with the same shame that it does the travesty of slavery.
It is absolutely shameful, and we need to point out, though, that any women, for instance, who may be listening right now, who may have had an abortion, there is redemption for that sin, and that's what it is. It's a sin. You just confess the sin, and Christ can restore you, can redeem you, and you can move forward. We've seen a number of post-abortive women who have since found the Lord, or maybe were even Christians and still engaged in that sin, and their lives have turned around. Many of them are now being used for good to fight and defend innocent human life and to protect women from Planned Parenthood, from the abortion surgeon, from the radical left and the radical abortion industry. Well, folks, at Liberty Counsel, one of our pillars is to defend human life, to fight for the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for those who cannot fight for themselves. But we can only do it with your help. To learn more about Liberty Counsel and how you can become part of our mission to defend innocent human life, go to lc.org or give us a call, 1-800-671-1776. That's lc.org, 1-800-671-1776. Stand with us as we stand for the innocent.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. Our hope is to encourage and inspire you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email update. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.